Shalom, shalom. Barakatah Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakak Badash. Double honors to our apostles, elder bishops here at Great Millstone. Shalom to you, brothers that's pushing the work in truth with all sincerity. Name of this lesson will be Uproars of the People, Confusion in All Places. As the scripture go into, in these times that we're living in, the end, right, you're going to have pretty much chaos ensuing. Sedition among men, all right, confusion, uh, corruption at the highest levels of government, stringing people along, wearing their own, citizens out, implementing crackdowns on the average day citizen, all right, surveilling and, you know, and bringing that, draconian law, all right, and we're going to see, you know, different levels. It's going to heighten, okay. Right now, you're not seeing too much, but soon enough, you know, they're going to start going after people. And I mean by cutting people's bank accounts off, calling people, terrorists or, you know, dissenters or, traitors, whatever, you know. And on top of that, you got outbreaks, you know, and people are right now being heavily, they're catching hell, but, people are being heavily surveilled. People are being lied to by corrupt leaders. And then you got sedition that's about to ensue. People essentially, uprising against their own leaders. All right. And of course, that's the, like I said, that's when the crackdowns are going to come. But it's a lot, but it's important to pay attention to these things. But I got quite a few videos. All right. And it's just pretty much just showing you this, the signs of the times. Because, I mean, it's only getting worse. And if you thought it was, that these things was going to happen far out or later on, and in society, man, this is right at your front door. This is right now, you know. So right, yeah, I think I covered pretty much the gist of everything. Now let's go into it. Only have a few precepts. Lord willing, this is edifying. All right.
So, all right, so check this out. So I set this up to where now I'm over here, right? So, so Mike, here's my question. Why is this even possible? Why can I talk to you through the traffic cameras right now? It's because the traffic cameras are basically out on the public internet, and so anyone who has access to the public internet.
Right. So they're listening to conversations. Like we always knew this, but that's where that's where everything's headed, you know. And it's gonna be a crackdown on people, man. People getting letters in their, in the mail, people, receiving summons to go to court and all that type of stuff. So and Esau, the government, they're gonna come down on people for the littlest things, you know, because all this AI integration, all that shit, it's just an efficient way for this man to be more of a devil, you know. It's just an efficient way that he can, you know, wring out all, you know, people's energy. All right, and that's really what this devil is out. He's attacking people's energy, man. He wants people mad, and he want to provoke these people to sedition, and that's what's going to happen. You've seen a lot of protesters dealing with these data centers, man, and people are mad. In Utah, I just seen one in Utah. I think one of the clips on here, and people are pissed, you know, and because they know what's at stake, and they know that, and of course, when you look at it from a moral standpoint, uh, it's diabolical, what the data centers does to the environment. But Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, they only think about profit. So the moral aspect goes out of the window. There's no more morals. there's no more caring for the life or the environment. It's only about profit or anything, whatever, you know, allows him to continue to oppress and to press on people. All right, so let's play a little bit more.
And no.
Why are you protecting? What are you protect us?
A very emotionally charged meeting.
Pissed. Edomites, pissed, man. And then these elite, they're getting these people every which way. All right, streams over streaming. Let's see, transparency, honesty, accountability, responsibility, a voice in our future. Yeah, because you got the municipalities just selling out to the corporations. And they're making it seem like they can't do nothing about it. But you're seeing all across the board, that's what's happening. They're just, allowing the corporations to come in to build these data centers, which, puts the environment at risk. But do they care? A great misery shall be upon these people in the latter time, because they have walked in great pride, roughly paraphrasing it. So these people are mad, and they're close to sedition, man. It's really close, man. I mean, you're seeing it in small spurts, but what is that going? The reaction is going to be crackdowns. The reaction is going to be AI at your workplace. What they call flock cameras, which is a new thing I stumbled upon. Right, flock cameras, AI integrated, and that was the first. That was the first clip. Okay, where the guy was walking in the traffic, all right, and he was talking through the traffic lights.
As Box Elder County Commissioners moved to approve the Stratos project. That started with a protest outside before the meeting, and then standing room only inside the huge exhibit hall. And after multiple interruptions.
Yeah, corporations don't stop and think, and that's that's how Esau has it. Right? You don't have to think, if and it's crazy, but that's just the way it is.
They decided to move into a smaller room and then broadcast it out to Zoom, which of course upset a lot of people. The commissioners say because land in Box Elder County is not zoned at all.
Most Americans still think that Flock is something fixed to a pole. It's not. Flock's system now extends into the air with drone as first responder platforms built on Aerodome and deployed by Flock Safety. These drones launch automatically from hardened docks, not trucks, and operate at 400 feet BVLOS, not the typical 200. That extra altitude means wider coverage, faster scene awareness, and fewer blind spots. They run multi-LTE links, onboard radar for 20.
Yeah, just look it up and it'll give you more information. I'm just giving you a short, the short and sweet version. But flock cameras, yeah, the digital, what do they call it? The digital control grid has already been put in place, and these data centers are nothing more than just another step closer to the beast system being implemented fully. All right. So even now, as we speak, that beast system is in play. All right. And if you don't go with it, if you don't accept it, guess what? They're gonna be able to label you dissent. They're gonna be able to label you a traitor, a sympathizer with terrorists and all of this other stuff. If you speak against the American way, all of that crap, and they'll be able to cut off your bank account. All right, this is already happening. This ain't just this is happening now as we speak. All right. So Kevin O'Leary's massive data center, that was the second clip. This is just, to go with that, was approved by a county commission in Utah last night. And these people are pissed. And that's what you've been seeing a lot of, a lot of people protesting against data centers within the last, 6 odd months. And, Esau's building them. All right. And they're building, I think this might be the biggest one. All right. It's going to be the biggest one. But what I'm getting from this is that he's the scripture Revelations 13, he spake as a dragon, right? We're gonna see that in live in color, so to speak. You know, um, they're gonna be bringing down these harsh, these laws against people. Okay, and you might not even be doing anything, but a drone could be flying over your car. Or they'll give you a ticket for some stuff, and that's all coming. It's already happening. You know. So the next one.
Resolution 2611, Fox River County Commission consent to the inclusion of the private land located in the unincorporated Fox Elder County in the Midas Stratus project area.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution dash 26-11, Fox River County Commission consent to the inclusion of private land.
Yeah, eat might some fish, you know. But hey, as we see, they catching hell too. You know, they catching hell. All right, and the scriptures say they would.
What's happening in Utah right now?
And we already know that at some point, they're gonna take their anger out on whoever they can. You know, and mainly, they're gonna take their anger out on Jake too. All right, they're gonna blame, but you already got communities that's being completely taken over now by those data centers and destroying the environment. So people are catching it, man.
Now, we think over 90% of the protesters are actually not people that live in Utah or Box Elder County. They're being bussed in.
Yeah, he's lying. He's lying. So yeah, and then there's gonna be a narrative being pushed by the elite class billionaires. All right, and it's gonna be bad, man.
And so people who live in Utah aren't stupid. they see this happening and they realize, why am I letting people who don't even live in my state make decisions for me? And I don't think it's going to work out for them. But there are professional protesters that are paid by somebody, I don't know.
It's the oldest trick in the book. If you can't discredit the message, then try to.
What happens to that water? It gets generated with a lot of forever chemicals in it. And we, the EPA, does not have the equipment to actually clean that out. So I can tell you for a fact, the Google facility up in New Albany that currently exists today, it uses 387,000 gallons of water per day. That's the size of a small town.
Walgreens, once again, is having.
And this one has to do with stores closing here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And let me tell you, they've closed down most of the grocery stores in the inner city of Milwaukee. And literally, these people have to go outside on the outskirts to go to a grocery store. And they're blaming it on, people stealing and things of that nature. They're not able to maintain these stores. But there's a greater agenda, there's a greater agenda, and we know what's up. This is setting the stage for mass or famine, and mass killings.
Having another store closed in Milwaukee, and this time they are citing the fact that theft and security concerns when it comes to the crime happening around, but also happening inside the store, that is causing for them to say, we just need to close our doors. And once again, a neighborhood specifically off of 27th and North, right down the street, within the last year, lost a pick and save in that Metcalf Park neighborhood. And so when you're losing groceries, when you're losing pharmacies, when you're losing jobs, and you don't have.
My name is Brett, and I've been a Corona resident in District 4 for 15 years. I'm here to introduce DFlock.
Now, this goes with the first and the third video with these cameras that they're setting up. you know.
Corona, a community coalition asking this council to cancel the city's contract with Flock Safety and remove the cameras that have been deployed throughout our city. Our website is dflock-corona.org. I'm here because new Flock cameras were recently installed between my home and my daughter's school. So now every time I make that drive, my family's being photographed and logged into a giant corporate database. I want to be clear what these...
I told y'all.
Yes, and it's the invasion of your privacy, and you ain't gonna have none. Okay, and it'll allow these corporations to do whatever they want. So
Every state in the United States have to get rid of 500,000 people to 1 million people off of food stamps, Section 8, voucher housing, public assistant, air assistant, water assistant, walking assistant, internet assistant, phone assistant, gas assistant, heat assistant, water assistance.
With cameras everywhere in that town, you can't get a breath of fresh.
yeah, so cop used Flock to wrongfully accuse a woman, then refused to look at evidence that exonerated her. Yeah, it's coming more, man. Yeah.
Fresh air in or out without us knowing.
Right now, you're watching body camera footage of a police officer wrongfully accusing an innocent woman of package theft at her Colorado home after he used Flock evidence to target her.
Because you have not been honest with me, so I'm not going to extend you any courtesy of showing you a video when I don't need to.
But I can show you videos.
No, you cannot.
Yes,
I can show you.
Okay, show me that.
No, you're not being honest.
Yeah, it's gonna get real bad out here, man. It's gonna get real bad out here. So let's just get into these precepts. Let's see here. We'll start at 2 Ezra 9 and 3, and then I'm gonna go to 2 Ezra 8 after this one. So therefore, 2 Ezra 9 and 3, therefore when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. Right, so this was already foretold. Okay, and the elect believers, the saints, have the benefit of knowing these things before they happen, preparing ourselves. Okay, and that's why it tells us in verse 1. It says, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself. And that's essentially what we're doing with everything that's taking place. We're measuring. It's like a measuring stick. All right, we're measuring. And when thou seest part of the signs which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Right? And now what? As upon us knowing this and seeing these signs, what our salvation is nearer than what we believe. All right, it's getting close. Okay, therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes, right? We've seen plenty of those, especially last year. Okay, and it's a continuation. All right, and these are, obvious, evident signs. All right, it's speaking and not lying. And uproars of the people in the world. All right, what's an uproar? Here it says outbreak of great disorder, which we're going to see, revolt. And that you see it all across the board. People are just revolting against whatever the government's doing. All right, violent commotion, and it hasn't got too violent, but it will. Whether it's generated by the powers that be, or people actually, because these people ain't gonna they're not gonna move in such a way where it's gonna be corroborated or an effort where everybody's participating. It ain't gonna get like it's not happening now, but they might generate that. They might do something to where people, or it may be staged, But at some point, people gonna be like they had enough. All right, so yeah, that's pretty much it on that. All right, and so that's what we're seeing. We're seeing uproars of the people. Okay, and it's only getting worse. So it says, "Then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest." So it's clear. All right, as Habakkuk 2 says, it's in the end it shall speak and not lie. So it's clear that it's the end. It's not no question if we're not questioning if we're in the end, if this is the end. It is the end, right? It is the end, and Esau is the end of the world, right? So it's without a shadow of doubt. Okay, it's without a shadow of doubt. Even so, the times also of the highest have plain beginnings in wonder and powerful works and endings and effects and signs, as we see the effects that's taking place. The uproars, the people, the sorrow, the famines, and all of those things that's about to come. Yeah, we're gonna see it all, Lord willing. We're granted to make it through. All right. So it's 8:50. It says, "For many great miseries shall be done to them that in the latter time shall dwell in the world, because they have walked in great pride." You see, yeah, and that's the Lord is about to. He's about to address that pride. So he's using Esau to come down, crack down on people, to bring the pain, so to speak. All right, and they're making it so things become a lot more difficult in this world, living, you know, and to the point where it's really to wear people out to get them to you know uh to concede, to just give in. All right, that's how he's playing this thing. Okay, but the elect, the Lord's saints, are not going to give in, because we're not going to lean on our oppressors. All right, we're not going to lean on those that smote us, as Isaiah 10 and 20 goes. So let's see. I want to read this in the GNT, and this one goes with 2nd Ezra 8:50, what we just read. It says, "Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for a minute." So in other words, famine, epidemics, troubles, same book, chapter, all right, in verse. Famine, epidemics, troubles, and suffering are sent to punish and correct people. All right, and so that's our understanding on what's taking place. This is correction. Okay, because they, as the scriptures say, what miserable are they, are the cities that have received thy sons. So they're reaping, all right, what was sown. Baruch 4:30, "Take a good heart, O Jerusalem, for he that gave thee that name will comfort thee." Right, and we're gonna be comforted in these times. "Miserable are they that afflicted thee, and rejoice at thy fall." Yeah, and these people have done it one way or another. All right, they're relieved that they're not in our position. Okay, so the scripture say miserable, and misery is the remedy for these times, for these people. And it's the only remedy, right? "Miserable are the cities which thy children served. Miserable is she that received thy sons." See, "For as she rejoiced at thy ruin and was glad of thy fall, so shall she be grieved for her own desolation." You see, and these people are grieved, because they got a cruel Lord ruling over them, So, going back here, 2nd Ezra 16:20, it says, "But for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. All right. And see, they're not considering none of it. Okay. And they're just gonna blame each other and fight against each other. Okay. And the Lord's gonna allow Esau to crack down. He's gonna allow him to, go full devil on these people. On especially Jake. All right. Behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth, that they shall think themselves to be in good case. All right. So they're gonna alleviate the stress, you know, in such a way, where something is going to have to kind of get these people to kind of calm down. Entertainment, sports, food, because food is food is everything to these people. All right. So they're going to think themselves to be in good case, and even then shall evils grow upon earth. And that's what we're seeing now. We're still seeing evils are growing, right? Sword, famine, and great confusion. And they're going to come upon the earth, all right? And especially to America. Babylon the Great is going to come, okay? People ain't going to be able they're not going to be able to eat. They're not going to have a solution. And the scriptures say they're not going to know what to do, all right? They're going to be perplexed. And I know we come out perplexed with this all the time. All right. In Luke 21 and 25, it says, and there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations, right? Distress, okay, with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring. So it's going to be, I don't want to use the word chaos, but that's what it's going to be. But it's something short of chaos, of the word I'm looking for, But it's likened unto waves roaring, It's going to be violent, So perplexity, it says, bewilderment, doubt, uncertainty. And this is what people their minds, they're going to be lost. They ain't going to be able to control their thoughts, their feelings, and they're going to just crash out, Crash out is the word for it now, They're just going to lose it. So uncertainty, they're not going to know what to do. But I mean, the believers, the saints, well, of course, we're going to know exactly what's going on, okay? Because we've been paying attention. We've been measuring the time diligently in itself, okay? So, and that was just a few things I wanted to point out. Confusion, perplexity, okay? And the scripture says it was going to be in all places. Confusion in all places, all right? Yeah, I think that's 5, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. 2 Ezra 5 and 8, there shall be a confusion also in many places. All right. And basically that's going into the different the epidemics, as the scriptures say in 2 Ezra 16, we just read it. All right. Not bad. Let me just get it again. Whoop. Oh, here it is. My bad. Yeah. Okay. Because there shall be confusion in many places, 2 Ezra 5 and 8, but when you go here, it gives the details. Famine, epidemics, troubles, and suffering are sent to punish and correct people. See? Right? And the fire shall be often sent out again. All right. So yeah, man, just wanted to touch on that. Basically what I was catching. And
Not that you should be doing that. Oh.
Uproaring, dissatisfied, grieving, they're in misery, and that's a win for righteousness. That's a win, for the saints. So that was pretty much all I wanted to point out with that. I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakakwadash. Double honors to our apostles and elder bishops here at Great Millstone. Shalom to you, brothers. All right. And you sisters, all right, who believe. Shalom.